Hello, everybody. Rabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload. I am here, of course, ready for another episode of the podcast. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Legend of Jonathan. Say hello, Legend of Jonathan.
Yo, guys, that's me, the Legend Jonathan. I'm back, and yeah, I can't wait to get into this episode of the podcast.
Exactly. So we're starting to get pretty into it. This is the third episode. We're starting to get the hang of it. Pretty good. Pretty nice. It's
hmm
it's been working out pretty good so far. We've been looking forward to it all week. We were talking earlier. We recorded something else, for the channel, and we're like, yeah, looking forward to the podcast. That's fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get right into it. And who should go first with their week? I think you're gonna go week. You're gonna go first with your week, I believe, again.
Oh yeah. So the thing I did this week was what was it? I watched the newest episode of Urusei Yatsura.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It was pretty cool. Um, this chapter in the manga was introduced pretty early because the episode in the original was like episode 10 or something like that. What I liked was the basis is that basically the first half is something about Ataru. He wears like a glove, and like the two boxing gloves, one hugs people and the other one punches people or something like that.
Okay, I'm
And
already
it's
laughing.
because
This sounds so
yeah,
wacky. Like
and
what?
it's because Mayweather or some shit. Because it's like some boxer before.
Floyd
He
Mayweather?
no, that's what, I just made a joke. Yeah, um, this boxer. I guess the point was that he used to be very serious looking and very like not violent, but he was really good at boxing. And a lot of boxers wouldn't want to be his friend or like get along with him or anything. And the thing is that he really desired that, where he can actually be friends with people, hug them, all that stuff. And so the point is that the dude, since he possesses those gloves, supposedly, one glove represents like him being angry while the other one represents him like hugging. So if he wears both gloves, Ataru, he'll grab someone, then he'll punch them.
Okay.
And then if he only wears the punching glove, he'll punch someone and like basically basic stuff. Um,
Okay.
and the point is that since he doesn't want to punch Lum and stuff, he punches himself in the face instead. And he's like, oh, it's because I would never punch a woman. But then Lum's all like, oh my God, he's doing it for me. And he's like, no, I'm not, you idiot.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, it's such a weird premise. And then
It is a weird premise. It's like what?
the second half has to do with that all the guys in the class are sick and tired of Mendo, the rich kid, and Ataru's bullshit, because one dude pulls all the bitches in the class while the other one he has alum. So they're all both sick and tired of both of them.
Oh
So like
wow.
they write a love letter to Ataru saying that they're a pretty girl, and then like they put the name and everything, and then Ataru's dumbass, he falls for it, and then they add Mendo to the equation so that he humiliates him, and then they feel bad because Mendo and Ataru have a bet where they're like, oh yeah, like if you win, no, if I lose, then you can become class president if you want, and you can have Lum or some dumb thing like that. And so basically, like it leads to this whole situation where the guys are like, oh great, these two dumbasses are betting now. And then Lum's like, oh, well, like now that I know that they're making fun of, like, well, not making fun of, they're trying to expose that Taro can't pull bitches, basically. That's what they're trying to do. That's why I
Okay.
keep saying that she ends up messing up their plan um by dressing up as like a girl, like a pretty girl. She puts like on different clothes and everything, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll make the girl in the letter, blah blah blah. Thank you for reading it." And he's like, "Thank you're welcome, by the way." No, yeah, like you're welcome for reading it. And then later when they're walking home, he kind of thanks her because he's like, "Oh, thank God that you basically came in and prevented them from humiliating me." And then like that's when he falls in love with her because he's like, "Wow, I never realized that she was this pretty," or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like the episode in the original one, it felt more sweet because it like there was some more stuff to it. But here I feel like they better wrote it in a way. Like I'm just giving a summary, like a really quick summary. But I feel like the remake they did better write it though.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The next thing I did was I saw, I think it was today or yesterday actually, of this week. I saw freaking the Ash won the championship against all of the champions.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, from the
And
what is it
Journeys,
called?
yeah.
Yeah, Journeys. I don't even know what it's called. Journey. I think it's called like something Journeys,
It's
right?
it's ultimate. It's ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I saw about that. That was like
Oh my
trending.
God.
That was
It was
trending
so
for like a
cool.
while. I saw about that. It was actually pretty hype. I know what you're talking about.
And what I found pretty cool was the part where what's his name? That it shows that Pikachu, because I mean, let's be honest, everyone kind of just watches like the leaks anyways now. It was pretty cool seeing that Pikachu remembers all of Ash's Pokemon, and
Hmm.
like he has like a weird like he goes into like a yeah like in his own like a different realm, you can say, like he's thinking to himself,
Yeah, it's
and
like
he
a
just
weird
see
like I don't know if
thing
we
that
call it
they
like a dream realm, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's like
he gets his brain blinks out.
yeah, because basically yeah, because I saw it too. I saw it. I don't know where you saw it. I actually saw it on Twitter. Like I said,
I saw it on Twitter,
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because it was trending, and someone actually posted like a long video. It was like 9 minutes, and yeah, basically it's for anyone who doesn't know. I mean, at least I would hope you at least know about Pokemon, so you have an idea what we're talking about. But yeah, if you know about Pokemon, if you've like seen it before, Ash obviously every season he goes to a different region and he's always
Mhm.
trying to win that championship as he catches Pokemon. And he has like a new friends every region, new Pokemon except Pikachu, etc. And we're kind of started to have a little bit of like continuity. I mean, it's always had continuity in a way, but I mean, where it's finally like it started to matter is that in Alola, which is like the Hawaii themed one, he actually
Yeah.
won the championship there. That like the first ever championship, and he won it. And so in this season, where he is kind of doing like a world tour sort of thing, for a while it was just him and his friend doing a world tour, catching Pokemon, whatever. But they introduced this thing where they're like, we're gonna have like a tournament of champions that anyone who's won a regional championship before we're gonna make everybody fight to see who's like the best of the champion of champions. And since Ash won the one last season, he
He
became
counts as the
yeah, yeah,
Lola one.
yeah. So he became eligible, and so he fought people like if you might recognize him from the anime or from the games. He fought Cynthia, for instance. He fought Leon, who's the one from Sword and Shield. Um,
Iris.
Iris, for instance, is yeah, Iris, the one that girl he actually journeyed with. She actually in the games, she actually becomes the champion in Black and White 2, I believe.
Yeah, black and
So
white
it,
too, yeah.
so yeah, in the anime, she's actually a champion of her region. And so yeah, it's just really fun seeing all these characters come back. And of course, he fought Cynthia and won, and yeah, for a while I don't know about you, but I kind of like just would follow like you said, just kind of like leaks and stuff. I had been wondering when he was gonna fight like the actual like finals because it had been like a while since he fought Cynthia,
Mhm.
and it was pretty.
I've
Oh,
oh
go
wait.
ahead, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, okay. That I only watched the leaks. I've never watched the episodes because I kind of like saw that the anime was kind of terrible up until this point. So I was kind of like, no, like I'll just stick to the leaks, honestly.
Yeah, because in the beginning, I didn't really like it either. I remember I tried it out when it first started. I didn't like Go. I thought he was really annoying. The
Hmm.
story just felt very kind of. I felt kind of fanficky, where it's like, oh, they're able to catch any Pokemon they want because why not? It felt very all over the place.
Hmm.
Where it did get kind of cool, based on like same thing, just leaks, is when I saw he started bringing characters back. He started seeing his old
Hmm.
friends, and it was building up towards this. That's where it got kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you were saying, basically the point we're trying to get to, since we both saw it, I guess, is that for anyone who didn't see it, it's just really cool because he was going to fight the final match. It's against Leon, who's from Sword and Shield, and basically it's his Pikachu versus Leon's Charizard, and they're going all out. Like the fighting was actually really good. It looked really cool.
Hmm.
And Leon, he actually looks better when he takes off that like stupid jacket. I thought he like looked better too. Anyway, um, yeah, Charizard basically like knocks Pikachu out. Like Pikachu like collapses, and then he goes into that, like you said, it's like almost like a dream realm or like some sort of like in his mind or whatever. And he starts. That's where it's super hype. But he starts seeing every single one of Ash's old Pokemon,
Like every single one, guys.
Yeah,
Like
like
not
they even
even
bring
like
they even bring back Pokemon that like never came back that like got released or like they moved on. Like they showed his Butterfree that he let free, his Pidgeot, his Primeape that went away, stuff like that. And
oh,
so it's
that's
just
super cool. I didn't see the Primeape. I really was
yeah,
yeah.
he was like in the bottom left corner somewhere. I noticed them. But yeah, it shows all his Pokemon from like every season up until like the current season, and basically it's like Pikachu. It's like he feels all the other Pokemon are cheering him on. And so he like
Hmm.
comes back to like life, you can say. He like charges up Super Saiyan style, and he just goes all out and he keeps
That's what I
fighting.
was super happy about. That
And
he
then
reached
yeah, it's just so cool. He just goes all out and just like, oh, it just looks so cool. So
yeah,
cool.
he really went maximum there and showed how strong he got from all the other fights and stuff.
Yeah, and then it's really cool too because they keep cutting back and forth, showing that all of Ash's friends from previous seasons are also watching.
Hmm.
Like I think it's pretty cool. Like it shows Misty's at the gym with like _Psyduck watching on TV. Brock is with that green haired guy from Black and White. They're together. I don't know why, but they're together and
It's
they're
because of
watching it.
some Japanese episodes, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're friends. I don't really know, but the point is, they're watching it on TV. May and Serena, they're dressed in like their performers outfits. They're watching it on TV, and Max is there. Just like everyone's watching. It's like super cool. And then freaking Ash just wins it all, and it's like so hype. And they give him the trophy, and he's like celebrating and stuff. And that's like where it ends. And it's so
Hmm.
freaking cool because I knew this series, I had heard it's supposed to be coming to a close soon, but like it's like, damn, if Ash won, like what's next? Like how will the this season end? And people are wondering, is that going to be it for him finally? Now that he's like he became the very best.
Yeah.
He is
And
the
then
strongest trainer in the world now. So is that going to be it for him, or are they going to go to a different protagonist, or will they just have him? Maybe since he's the strongest now, maybe it'll just be like him, solving like Pokemon mysteries and continue to catch Pokemon. Like, what's next, basically?
yeah, there's even some leaks that point that it could be the finale because of like some titles and stuff. And I'm really hoping like even though I don't want it to like I want it to end, but at the same time I don't. Like if it does end where Ash isn't the protagonist anymore, like I would be kind of happy because it's like, oh well, at
I
least
mean,
we
it's been
can move
25
on.
years. It's been
Yeah, we
25
can finally move
years.
on, basically. And
Yeah.
especially because like those titles do fit with that whole thing of him moving on.
Mhm.
Because there's one that was like called like Pokemon I'm glad I chose you or something like that. And so it's like, damn, like that's really like it shows that's different from Pokemon I choose you. So like it really, yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like it comes full circle.
like it goes from the beginning to the end,
Like
yeah.
him, like maybe reminiscing with Pikachu about how he's glad about everything they did or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Um,
cool. But yeah, sorry, there was a lot of overlap, so I kind of ended up talking a lot during like your section. But it's just I saw it too, and I just thought it was really hype. And I just kind
yeah.
of wanted to give some context, to people and stuff. But yeah, if you guys
To,
haven't
to
seen it,
understand
go
it,
yeah,
yeah.
go look it up. Like if you don't know anything about Pokemon, even if you like dropped off for a while, if you ever enjoyed it at some point, just look it up. It's just like really cool just seeing that clip. It's like really
Especially because
awesome.
it's on Twitter too right now, still.
Exactly. So you can just look it up. Pretty
Um,
easy.
the next thing I did was I actually watched the new Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever.
Oh, sweet,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I liked it a lot. Like, obviously, I'm not going to spoil it and go into details or anything, but I liked it a lot. Um,
Yeah, just really
and
quick, I was just gonna say I watched the two actually, so I really liked it as well too. So,
mhm,
but yeah, I'll let
yeah,
you.
I liked how they had, obviously even Chadwick. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. They showed it in the trailer. Then he said it himself before he died, obviously. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna die. It's crazy that, yeah, basically T'Challa just dies. And like they
Oh,
never
okay, yeah, yeah. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. But yeah, I was wondering how they would address that because we knew that he was gonna die like, in universe too, and it's
it's just
weird.
crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you have to watch it when they show what happens to his character. It's interesting because there's kind of a parallel to like what happened in real life. That's all I really want to say. But what I want to say is that yeah, that because obviously it opens with that. That's not much of a spoiler. That opening of the movie, I mean, I think it's like the saddest. I don't know which. This is probably the saddest one with like Infinity War, like in second place. How Infinity War starts really bleak, where it basically says like 5 years later, and it shows that Iron Man almost dies, and so Iron Man almost dies in space. Then he gets saved. Then it cuts like 5 years later, and it makes you go like, "Holy shit!"
I
Like
thought it
they're
was Endgame.
actually. Did I say Infinity War?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
I'm
was
sorry,
Endgame.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. I meant Endgame. I meant Endgame too. But yeah, for Endgame, it's just so crazy because it shows they beat Thanos. Tony Stark almost dies, and that's just 5 years later, and it makes you go like, "Holy shit!" Like they're actually sticking with this. They're actually like in a world where they didn't fix the problem, and it's like super like sad. And this
Hmm.
is like probably like the this probably takes first place because this is like an actual like death, and like it reflects something that really happened. So that
Hmm.
opening is just like so sad, and then it just cuts to, once again, it's not really a spoiler. It just cuts to like the Marvel logo, but it's
And
all
it's
just like,
complete silence.
and it's just like images of Chadwick Boseman's character.
It's
And
very
that's,
like.
yeah, so it's like so somber and sad, and it's just like oof, you know what I mean? And once again, we're not
Hmm.
gonna say what happens to the character in the movie. You're gonna have to watch it to see how they treat his character and stuff. But yeah, the way they treated it, I thought was really interesting. And
Hmm.
what did you think of? It's not a spoiler. Once again, we know it's gonna be Namor. He's gonna be the bad guy. What did you think of Namor?
I thought he was good. I thought he was a good villain.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he's really cool. His powers and stuff, because
Hmm.
he's like really strong. Because let's see him as the Black Panther. He kind of has like similar move set where he's like superhuman strength. So he's super
Hmm.
strong, but then he also can like fly around because he has those weird like wings on his
The fish, the flying fish wings. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's freaking badass. Like, he's just like running around at super speed, flying around, super strong and stuff. And he's like really smart too. He's like definitely like a
Hmm.
very manipulative, villain and stuff.
Hmm.
But I really liked him, and I really liked the whole angle they gave him, where he's like from the Mayan culture or whatever. I thought that was like a
Hmm.
really cool spin, and him and his people, and what like the way they fight and like their whole aesthetic. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. That was actually one of the first things I noticed too. That I liked that they showed and they kept the actual history stuff of Mayan people because it was pretty cool how he like I mean they yeah, that's his character. He kind of describes that, yeah, he comes from like a Mayan tribe from like years in the past during like the time when the colonist had gone there from Spain. And it's really cool seeing that where like he mentions like actual history stuff, and then he like kind of mentions like, oh yeah, I come from like a tribe where they like hid and blah blah blah, and like they tried doing stuff, and
Yeah,
I think that's
and
pretty
that's what
cool.
makes the
Yeah.
movie so interesting. That they definitely Namor's people. There's like a big parallel to the Wakandan people, where they're
Hmm.
both very powerful hidden nations, and they're
Hmm.
each trying to like look out for their own. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like where there's big parallels between them, which is really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was
Um,
pretty. Oh.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, I just thought it was really cool that how they've messed with these like two like different cultures and just like their mythology and stuff. It's really fun to like just follow.
Yeah, it was super fun. And then what else? There was something else I was thinking about. Um,
Does that have to do with the movie?
yeah, it had to do with the movie. Um,
You remember, try not to spoil it because I don't know what you're thinking about.
it's not a spoiler.
Oh, what you're
Oh right,
thinking?
back the
Oh,
thing back to
yeah.
his speed and strength. What's crazy is, I mean, they've said it before that they try to use some influences, yeah, from like other like media. The way that he actually would attack though, like you can tell it was more based off of like the fights from like animation, because he would go really fast and he would look like he would just teleport in front of them and punch them. Like
Oh,
the
yeah, because that when he like flies, it's not really flying. It almost looks like he's like air stepping. It reminds me
Mhm.
of like Bleach or something.
Yeah, and then when he
Like the flash step they do in Bleach, it reminds me of that. I know what you're
yeah,
talking about. Yeah, yeah.
and then there was a part where, yeah, he like lunges forward and like punches like in the gut, but he looked like he literally like sped like kind of like in Dragon Ball, and they kind of like float across
Oh, I know
the
what fight you're talking about.
battlefield,
I know what fight you're talking
and
about.
then like
Yeah.
he yeah, and it looked like when Goku punched Piccolo in the stomach. That's literally what it looked like. Like it was super
Yeah,
cool.
it
Yeah.
looks really anime inspired, like the way he moves because he's moving so fast, and the way he's moving, it looks like it kind of almost like teleporting. So I know what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
It's really
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, I really like how he fights. I really like the character. I thought he was really
Hmm.
really cool.
I like how intelligent he is too. Yeah.
And then everything I was gonna say, just like the last thing I was gonna say, because
Yeah.
I would say there's a lot of stuff I could say, but I want to spoil it. Um, it's not much of a spoiler. I think if you looked up the information, I talked about it. They see he confirms he even calls himself a mutant.
He's like he said he's a mutant, which we know from X-Men that means that, all that
So
stuff.
so far, they've talked about how he's a mutant. They've talked about how Kamala Khan is supposed to be from Miss Marvel. She's supposed to be a mutant. So they've
Hmm.
introduced a few mutants at this point. So that's really interesting. It does make me wonder how they'll introduce hopefully the X-Men soon. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
there's a few people now they've mentioned being
and then
mutants.
and then isn't Wanda in this universe supposed to also be like a mutant or something like that or no?
No, not in this universe, because this universe she got her powers from the Mind Stone. But
Okay.
in the original comics, she is supposed to be a mutant. Or like they've
Hmm.
messed with it here and there, but I think she was a mutant at some point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool.
That,
Is
that
that what,
that that was it.
that was it
Yeah.
for your week? Okay, yeah. Because obviously I
Hmm.
was gonna say my week it overlaps with yours with the movie. I also saw it this weekend that happened. Opening weekend. I really liked it. Like I said, um, so there you go. I would recommend it. I think it's pretty cool, and I
Me
think it's
too.
really
Yeah.
interesting. Like I said, how they deal with Chadwick Boseman's death. It was pretty interesting. We didn't know how they were going to deal with it, and I think the way they dealt with it is fine. It's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, maybe if they had recast it, maybe it would have been better. So we would still have the Black Panther character. I don't know, but this is obviously the path they chose, and it wasn't bad. I guess it was good for what it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Other stuff that I did this week,
Let's
not too
go.
much, obviously. I mean, not too much, honestly, not obviously. Not too much, honestly. I spent a lot of time just catching up on the anime I talked about before. I hope to introduce like a new one next week to talk about and catch up on that. But I caught up on Chainsaw Man, I caught up on Spy Family, I caught up on Uzaki. Sean wants to hang out. I had finished the manga last time, and etc.
That's pretty cool.
Um, but yeah, I'm hoping to watch a couple of new ones, yeah, at least one or two to talk about next week because I have a few in mind. But at least with the current ones, I am caught up, so that's cool. Then when it comes to something I played a whole bunch of Sonic Frontiers. That's what I want
That's
to talk
cool.
about. And Sonic Frontiers, guys, let me tell you, it's just so weird because it doesn't feel like a Sonic game at all. Because Sonic is always running around through levels, platforming, fighting enemies. It still has that, but the open world aspect just makes it so different. Like it doesn't feel like a Sonic game. It's like so weird. But that doesn't mean it's not a good game to play. Like the gameplay is really good, and it does. It's just so interesting seeing Sonic in a different environment. I guess it's weird, but it's cool.
Hmm.
Again, the way to explain it's kind of like in Bowser's Fury. It's really weird seeing Mario running around in an environment like that, but you know how it feels right. Like it still fits in and still feels like Mario.
Yeah, because they
That's
work
kind of
around it. Yeah.
that's kind of the thing here with Sonic. Like even though it feels very strange seeing him in such an open world and running around, like the story and stuff, it still works because it still has aspects of Sonic. Like he's still running around fast, still doing a speed dash attacks and stuff. He's still bouncing off of springs and collecting rings and stuff. So it's just so weird. Like, you have to play for yourself. It's such a weird feeling, but it works though. It works really well.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
cool.
Something I'm surprised about though is that there's so much puzzles because like, Sonic's never really been a puzzle game. Sonic's always been about like fighting and running around. But the way it works here is that you get thrown into this map. It's a big open world, and basically how it starts is that Eggman has some sort of plan. They don't really tell us what it is, which is actually kind of surprising. I've gone to I've played like a few hours of it. I still don't really know what his plan is, which is kind of funny because you always kind of know what his plan is, and then it happens. Here, you don't know what his plan is. We just know it has to do with like the digital cyberspace. Then Sonic gets separated from his friends, and basically you're in this world alone, and you're running around. And not only are you like fighting enemies and collecting these like keys, which you then use to go to like original like Sonic type levels and run your way through them, but there's also all these like little beacons on the map that you have to do a puzzle. And when you do the puzzle, it unlocks part of the map and it tells you where stuff is. And so it's so crazy. It's all these puzzles like, oh, press these buttons before like there's three buttons on a platform. They press this button, and this button, and then that counts and that gets part of the map. Or it'll be like do a time trial thing where you flip an hourglass and it shows you have to go like way the hell over there. And so you have to like race all the way over there. And when you get to the spot it tells you, that unlocks part of the map. Or it'll be like a thing where it's like a bunch of lights on the ground and you have to like sidestep back and forth into the rhythm, and that counts as like a puzzle. Or what else? There will be like something underground, and so you have to like hold X, and then he does like you draw a circle, and you let go. He has like a tornado move, and then like that like digs up what was like hidden underground, and that counts as a puzzle. So it's just all these like random puzzles all over the map, and unlocks parts of the map. And as you unlock parts of the map, you see all these icons, and there's like chaos emeralds to collect and keys for the vault. And as you're unlocking the vaults, that reveals more stuff. It gives you more items, and there's power ups. And there's like a thing where you can see Amy. She's like a hologram, but if you give her like these little heart items, she is able to talk to you. And it kind of like it gives you like a little bit of lore about what's happening around the world. Like that's happening, and there's all sorts of huge enemies to fight. Like they already teased like a huge enemy. I wasn't able to fight him, and he literally kicks Sonic's ass. And they basically tell you come back later when you have like Chaos Emeralds. But I've still fought like some really big enemies called 𝐥𝐤𝐬s. That I think it was in some of the trailers that if you fight them, you basically have to like run up their arm and attack their head, and they're like huge. It's like fighting a Colossus, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so interesting, man. Like it's such a weird game. It doesn't feel like Sonic, but it's very enjoyable. And honestly, it's like a very good direction for Sonic to take because Sonic needed something different. And this definitely, I like the game, and from what I've seen very positive reception. So
A
let's
lot of
say
people are saying that it's like the best Sonic game currently.
yeah, like in a while, right? They said it's like the best 3D one like in a while or something. Yeah, like it really, really works. It's really strange, but so far it works. The thing I am curious about is kind of the story. So far, I haven't really seen any story. Like I said, it's basically like, oh, Eggman had some sort of plan. I don't know what it is yet. Sonic's in this world. He doesn't really know what's happening. He just knows that he's trying to like, free his friends from cyberspace. And then we know there's some sort of like an enemy that calls Sonic like an enemy and says like, oh, I can't tell you what's happening. I need to destroy you. And that's it. And then we saw Eggman once, and he was kind of like, oh, I'm in space. Like he recognized it, like I'm in cyberspace, like the digital world, and that's it. And I don't know what's happening with the story either. So I'm really intrigued with that too. I want to see like where the story is going, like why the cyberspace, what's Eggman's plan, who's this enemy, why is the world like this, etc. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I'm like really, really enjoying it. So
I about Sonic Frontiers, I actually barely had started it. I think it was
you did start it?
yeah, I saw the prologue, which I mean that's a different thing. Like it gives you an introduction to like I think it's like Knuckles and that's it. And what kind of like implying that he is a part of the game, you know?
Oh yeah, because he doesn't show up at the beginning. It's just Sonic, Amy, and Tails, huh?
So the implication is that I guess he does, yeah, he ended up in the cyberspace before everyone. But I thought it was pretty cool. The game I am kind of liking it so far. I barely even started it, but I like when I was exploring a bit at the beginning, I like how like open it is. The only thing that I didn't like for me, I don't know if it's because my controller is weird or I was too tired or something, but like the controls just felt weird for me though. Like I've seen other people play and it works perfectly for them, but for me it was just like really laggy. Like it was weird.
Oh, that's weird.
And then like Sonic would like run off the freaking like stage, like at the very like the tutorial one, he like ran off the like the sides.
That sounds. I think that might be a controller.
Yeah.
That does sound a bit weird. I don't know if you need to like get in there and check your controller settings, maybe change some of the sensitivity if you need to, because that does sound weird.
Yeah, it sounds very weird. But yeah, I think that same thing, looking at like the stuff like involving the game from like seeing how other people have been like praising it and also like the game itself, I would agree that yeah, it is like the best 3D Sonic game in like years, like definitely.
Yeah, because like Forces was really bad, really short.
Oh my lord, I hated that game.
Generations all right, but then stuff like '06 was like terrible. Unleashed, I don't know.
It did bad when it first came out.
Yeah, and then some of those sections were just like really slow and stuff, and they're taking forever to do, and yeah, it's been very mixed, obviously. So that's what I'm saying. It's nice to see Sonic having a win because it looks like that's the thing too. When we first saw footage, it looked very bad. I think it was IGN who covered it. IGN did a terrible job covering it. They made it seem so boring.
Hmm.
But now that people are actually getting their hands on, they're enjoying it. So I'm glad Sonic is having some wins. He's had good movies. It looks like he's gonna have the show Prime, which looks really good. And now he has the game that people are enjoying. So I'm glad to see
Hmm.
Sonic getting some. I don't know if you call it
W's.
respect, but he's getting some W's, which is nice because he's been like losing to Mario for like a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, since like since I was like born, basically.
Oh my god, yeah. So it's nice to see Sonic getting some W's. He's in there. You know, he like I said, I feel like he deserves some respect. He's put
Yeah,
in his work.
finally,
He's
man.
put in some
Because
work. So there you go. Yeah.
I've always been a Sonic fan more than Mario, honestly.
Oh really? For real? For real?
Like I've always loved Mario, even like before Sonic, I loved Mario. But like honestly, if I was like to mention which games I prefer more, I would tell someone I prefer Sonic game more,
Oh,
honestly.
that's funny. I did not know that. That's
Yeah.
actually interesting. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a hot take, honestly. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And yeah, I think that's it for my week, honestly. Because like I said, I watched the Wakanda Forever. I caught up on anime, and then I played this, and this took up a lot of my time. So I think that's it for my week. So I guess that means we can transfer over to the news. And I have three news stories that I picked out. I thought they were just interesting. They're one of them, it actually happened just today. I'll talk about that one like second, I guess. But the first one I want to talk about, it's pretty interesting since we're talking. It kind of goes to what we were talking about last week when we were talking about. No, it was the week before. The first week was the one about horror. Never mind. The point is, I'm stalling. The point is, I'll just read the news title. So it says footage of Kojima's rumored horror game Overdose leaks online. So it's really interesting that we know for the longest time that Kojima, obviously, he's not just doing Death Stranding. We know he's working on other stuff. He said he's working on other stuff. And it had been said that he's working on a horror game called Overdose, like it says here. And that we know of, I think this is the one that might be the Xbox exclusive game. We're not sure. Because he did say at one point he's working on an Xbox Game Studios exclusive or whatever. And basically, what you need to know is that, yeah, he's been pretty quiet about what he's working on, but we've seen footage here and there. There was like a poster where I think, you know, that girl, Dakota Fanning, her sister, Elle Fanning, which has come
Yeah.
out a few stuff. It looks like she's involved in the game, which is really interesting.
Hmm.
And all I remember, I think the poster says something like, "Who am I?" or something. And people were like, "Is that a new game or is it like a sequel to Death Stranding? What's happening?" And there's just been little tidbits here and there, is what I'm trying to get at. And finally, earlier this week, at this point, by the time this goes up, it might have been like a little more than a week. But there was some footage that got leaked where I'll just read it here. So it says the footage shows a character resembling Quali, which is it's a character from Death Stranding. That's the name of the actress, something Quali or whatever. But the point is, it shows a character that looks like her walking through dark corridors with a flashlight in third person. The video is mostly quiet, save for some audio strings and the jump scare at the end, which cuts to a screen displaying game over. That morphs into Overdose with a Hideo Kojima game appearing above the title. And then you can go and you can look at it yourself. It's still on YouTube as of this video. You can still see like the little leak. It looks really interesting. It looks really creepy. It's not much, but it looks interesting. And yeah, basically what the article says here is that it looks like this might be the leak of, well, we know it's the leak of Overdose, obviously, because it says Overdose, but we're just saying that it's interesting that, yeah, we got a leak of Overdose. And then, yeah, they're just curious as this is the Xbox Game Studio exclusive, you know?
That's
And
pretty.
what it says at the end, it says, while we didn't get any word from Kojima during this past June's Summer Games Fest regarding this project, we're hoping that we'll hear about it or Death Stranding 2 next month during the Game Awards. And that's what I was going to say. It's kind of cool that we got this little leak. Hopefully, that's what I was going to say. Hideo Kojima seems to be like really on really good terms with what's his name? Jeff Keighley, the guy who runs the Game Awards. So I would be really cool if he gives us some new information about his next game.
That would be pretty cool.
Like it says right there, next month. I think that'd be really awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think Hideo Kojima makes some really good games, really
He
interesting
does.
stuff. Even though I know Death Stranding wasn't for everybody, I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was like very, very unique. That's what you can always say. He always makes some very unique worlds and unique mechanics and stuff. And I'm just looking forward to what he makes next because, you know, I'm hoping Death Stranding wasn't where he stops, and it sounds like he's not. And so
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I want to see what's next, and especially if it's horror, because he was trying to make Silent Hills. So if the next thing is horror, let's see how he tackles that. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I actually thought Yeah, Death Stranding was pretty cool. When I heard that people were saying that it was like crappy, like some people, I was like, oh come on, man. Like I get it. Like the whole point of the game is you are delivering packages or something like that too. But like honestly, bro, like if someone can make delivering packages fun like this game, then I would play it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's the one thing that I can't stand. If you want to say the story's crappy, I can
Sure.
respect that because Kojima always has weird ass stories. I can respect that. If
Hmm.
you want to say the game was too slow for you or the combat was crappy, all that I can respect because it's true. The game was weird. The one thing I can't stand though that I won't forgive is people saying it had no gameplay.
And it's like it did. It's called you went and delivered packages.
That whether you like it or not, that's gameplay. And only that, but there was so much that went with it. Like it's not just like, oh, you walk from point to point. No, it's like you have to plan your routes. You have to load up a certain way.
You
If
have to
it's too
climb up.
heavy, yeah, you have to climb stuff and build all these things. And part of it's strategy where like as you progress, if you have the resources, like, oh, instead of just walking there, let me make a zip line from point A to point B, and let me build a road here to connect this part, so that way I can use a zip line, jump on a car, deliver all these packages, come back. Like, there's so much like strategy to it, and like resource management, and you still have to fight off like the enemies and stuff, and like. So saying that there's no gameplay, that's the one thing that pissed me off because it's like, dude, every single game, every single moment of the game is gameplay because you have to like pay so much attention to what you're doing
Yeah,
and
it was
planning
super good.
everything. That was like the one thing I couldn't forgive when people were like, "Oh, it has no gameplay." I'm like, dude,
It
like, come
definitely had
on.
gameplay. Another
It
thing about
wasn't
Death
just like
Stranding.
walking, and that's it. No, you had to
Mhm.
like control everything. So, just
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to Kojima's horror game, and Death Stranding was kind of like buggy, like when it came to you controlling your character. There is some funny stuff, like when you like fall over and he starts rolling down
yeah, I
hills,
know it's so stupid. Or
and
when
then
you're
like
running and he like trips.
it gets you pissed off, but it just looks funny at the same time seeing him roll down.
Yeah, because sometimes he's too heavy and he'll like trip and just totally fall on his ass and like almost die. And yeah, there's some
Yeah.
funny stuff. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God, yeah. But yeah, I'm
Ah,
looking
boy.
forward to it.
Yeah, like I said, especially if it's horror, because he was trying horror and then he never got to do it. So,
Hmm.
then the second story I have on the docket, I guess I could have done it in whatever order, but it's just the way I pulled them up. So, the second story is something that actually happened today. And unfortunately, Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy passed
Oh
away at
no.
66.
Yeah.
So
That's
as we're recording this, it did just happen, and it sucks because I think he was dealing with cancer. I don't remember what type of cancer it is, but I'd heard before about this, and I thought he was doing better, but nah, man, I
he
guess it
died.
came back or whatever. And it sucks too because we were just talking about Chadwick Boseman, how he died, obviously, and he died of I think it was colon cancer, and
Hmm.
so it sucks to see someone else die of cancer again. It just keeps happening, and cancer just sucks, you know what I mean? It sucks ass. It sucks that it kills so much people and it sucks it's so hard to deal with, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it sucks as it takes away such talented people from us, like Kevin Conroy's a legend, for anyone who maybe doesn't know who we're talking about, because maybe you don't recognize the name, Kevin Conroy, he's done other stuff, obviously, but the thing he's most famous for
Was
is
Batman.
that Batman. He voiced Batman in just about like every important thing. Like, he even has his list right here. He was Batman and Bruce Wayne in Batman the Animated Series,
Which is
the
the
new
one he
Batman Adventures, Batman Beyond, Justice League, Teen Titans Go, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Batman versus Robin, Batman the Killing Joke, Batman and Harley Quinn, Batman Arkham Asylum, Injustice Gods Among Us, and Multiverses. And that's just some examples because, like, basically, if almost any animated version of Batman you can think of, he did
he
like
was
90%.
voiced he voiced them, yeah.
Yeah, he did like 90% of all like the animated stuff. And even though I only mentioned a couple games here, like he did all of the Arkham games, he did all the Injustice games, he did the crossover stuff, he did a bunch of the animated movies. Like, there's a reason that for people, a lot of people, when they say, like, who's your Batman, a lot of people will say Kevin Conroy because I mean, even though like there's cool people who like did a good job, like I don't know if you like the goofy one, Adam West, or if you like the really serious one, Ben Affleck, stuff like that. Even though there's people that have their favorites, a lot of people say Kevin Conroy because he was Batman for years and years and years. Like, he has been in the role more than any other like actor. You know what I mean?
And especially because yeah, he's the one from the animated series.
And a
like
lot of people
the
consider the
first
animated
one, yeah.
series, yeah, a lot of people consider the animated series like the best version of Batman too. You know what I mean?
And that's all. I've always actually thought that too, to be honest.
Yeah, and so it just really sucks that he passed away, you know. And like I said, it just sucks that it was because of cancer, because like he was only 66. He could have maybe given us
Yeah, he was young
he
still.
could have maybe given us another good like what 20, maybe 30 years of Batman, like who knows?
Hmm.
But it just really sucks. And it's one of those things where, you know, like rest in peace, man. It sucks that, you know, he died. And it just sucks is going forward, you know, it's not gonna be the same without him because his voice he was Batman, you know, it just like really, really sucks.
Yeah, it's sad, dude.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere too. It's just like I saw the news. And I'm like, oh, come on, are you serious? It's like it was so surprising. Like I think he had been like doing appearances here and there. I didn't even know if he was sick. It just out of nowhere.
That's yeah.
Uh, yeah, that sucks. Then on to our third story, which hopefully it's a little more lighthearted. It's a really interesting one, a very weird one. As the title says, it says Studio Ghibli teases collaboration with Star Wars' Lucasfilms.
Oh,
And as
I've
the little
already heard
story
about
says
that.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, as it says right here, there's a little part where it describes it. It says, Studio Ghibli posted a tweet on Thursday with a video teasing the Lucasfilms logo, followed by Studio Ghibli's logo. And we don't know what it means. We don't know what they're working on. They haven't really talked about it yet. But I mean, it might be some sort of a anime they're working on together. Here it says that since they have been doing like their little animated things, Star Wars Visions, it could be that maybe they're going to have like a part that they team up with Studio Ghibli to do like a part of that show, or it could be something totally original. Who knows? But it's just very interesting because like Studio Ghibli has like such an aesthetic, and then teaming up with like Star Wars is like really funny. You know what I mean?
I mean, a Studio Ghibli like Star Wars movie or like show would be pretty cool though. Honestly,
Yeah.
they're
Although
very
even then, I just
they're
thought about it. It does say Lucasfilms. Lucasfilms does do more than Star Wars. They've also done like Indiana Jones and stuff.
hmm
So it doesn't
But
necessarily even
it
have to
could
be
be an
Star
Indiana
Wars,
Jones thing too.
or it could be like something totally different. It
hmm
could just be like some sort of adventure thing that hey, they're like let's team up and do some sort of like an adventure animated movie. That could be it too.
That can be it as well.
But yeah, as we were saying though, it's just such an interesting team up. It's just so weird, you know what I
You
mean?
would never see it. It's like Square Enix and Disney.
Yeah, it's just one of those that you never expect, and it's just like so out of left field.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cool, you know. I guess we'll have to wait because, like I said, so far they haven't really said anything. It's just like, oh, a teaser for something they're working on together. We'll have to wait for the future and see what that ends up becoming. But I just hope that whatever it becomes, hopefully it's something good, you know. It's always something fun.
I feel like I have a good feeling it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think Studio Ghibli, I don't think they're gonna work on just anything. You know what I mean? So
Unless it's like the earwig movie again,
the what?
like the earwig one
Oh,
that did terribly.
yeah, yeah. I got what you're talking about. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the news stories. Like I said, I just had three quick news stories, each you know different in each and every way. But hopefully, you guys you know enjoyed that. You know, that's what we're trying to do every week. Just little news stories that sound interesting that you know help you learn about some new stuff in the industry, whether it's like anime or video games or whatever. So there you go.
Yeah.
And now, what I want to do is that I want to jump over to our topic for the week. And I kind of didn't know what want to talk about for the topic. Like I said, it has been kind of hard because I've watched lots of anime, and you've watched some weird anime that I think I haven't watched. But we need like to do more of a like overlap. We need to like I need to like make suggest some anime to you, and then you watch them and catch up. That way we can talk about them because there's like a
Yeah.
lot of stuff I want to talk about with people, but I don't want to just sit here like alone talking about it. You know.
Yeah, because last time it was like Death Note. Bef what was
But the before that we were just giving like random suggestions, but as you can see, there was stuff I was mentioning that you had never even watched.
hmm
Yeah,
um
so this topic for this week, what I want to talk about, and I kind of hinted at it earlier, it's kind of funny. Like I sometimes use a word and it'll like foreshadow what I'm gonna talk about. What I want to talk about is a little game called Shadow of the Colossus. And like I said, the hint was when I said earlier, I'm like, oh yeah, as Sonic, you fight all these like giant Colossus or whatever. And I hinted that I fought one that, you know, I used the word Colossus, I think, as I was talking about it. Because they're Colossus usually like if you like follow the game, it means huge enemies. They're like way like, you know, like 100 times your size, and you gotta find their weak points and you gotta fight them. So there you go.
Are you
Uh,
referring to the remake or the PS2 one?
well, that's the thing. They're the same game.
Ah, okay.
It's just one is just like an updated version of it. Real quick, I was just going to ask you, have you ever played the game?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. You never played the game, but you're familiar with it at least, right?
I've seen pictures. I've seen people play it and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the reason I want to bring it up is because I was talking about Sonic, and I kind of use the word Colossus, and every time I think about someone fighting a huge enemy, that's the word that comes to mind because it's kind of in my vocabulary because of Shadow of the Colossus, and so I just want to talk about the game real quick because, as I said, I love to talk about stuff that I recommend and I want people to check out, etc. And so to talk about Shadow of the Colossus, as you said, there is the original PS2 version. That's where it originally came out. And then, years later, I think it was like the 20th anniversary, they made the PS4 version, which is a remake, and they're basically the same game. The only difference is that the new one is, like better textures. I think maybe they did change some of like the I don't know how to describe it. Like it's still the same structure, it's the same game. They just added some stuff to it, and they made it like updated for current consoles, basically. So like the controls might be a little smoother, the visuals are a little better. I think they might have added like one or two extra things, you know what I mean? But basically, it is the same game. So whichever one you get to, you choose to play, I think it should be like similar in experience. But I was gonna say, for anyone who has never heard of Shadow of the Colossus, it's this really, really good game. Basically, you play as this guy. His
Yeah.
name is Wander, and you're playing as this youth named Wander. That when the game starts, you are crossing this bridge into this territory. That there's this narrator that he like talks every so often, and the narrator says that there's this land that it's forbidden to anybody to go there because it's like this like crazy like sacred land, and that it has like some like special properties there. And we see that Wander he wanders into this land, and he has his horse named Agro, and he has something covered up in a blanket in behind him. And when the game starts, you see that he takes the bundle off of his horse, he places it on this altar, and it's this girl named Mono. And what's really cool about Shadow of the Colossus, it's like it's really mysterious. It never like fills in everything for you. At least it's not a lot of stuff really vague.
Yeah.
We don't know what's Wander's relationship with Mono. Like we assume it's romantic, that maybe he like loved her, it was like his lover or something, but we never know for sure. All we know is that he places Mono's body on an altar, and he starts speaking out to like a god thing. And he says that he wants the power to save her. And this creature called Dormin that doesn't have any like an appearance, like it doesn't have shape or form. It talks in both a male and female voice at the same time, and it basically says, "Okay, if you want to revive this girl, what you got to do is you got to slay the 16 Colossus
I
and
knew
take
it.
their
Yeah.
power, and you will be able to use that to revive her." Like I think that's like the deal he makes with Wonder, basically. And what
Mm.
makes the game so special is that the whole world is empty. It's a huge world, but it's empty. And the only thing to do, there's nothing to do except fight the 16 Colossus. It's like 16 boss battles, each in their own area. And so it's
Oh
this
wow.
very lonely, very solitary game where you raise up your sword. It kind of has like a light beacon that tells you which way to go. You ride and ride and ride and ride alone, and you make it to where the Colossus is. It has like a little cutscene where it introduces what it is. You fight the Colossus, you hit its weak points, you kill it, you absorb its powers, and you wake up back at the temple. And sometimes you get a little bit of a lore dump from, Dorman or whatever. And he says, go for the next one. And so it's just it's just so weird because it's a really
It's such a lonely game.
it's like really lonely. It's very solitary. It's just you and your thoughts. And it's like a really sad game. It's like really melancholy because you're just going, and all of the Colossus, they each have like their own life. They're each doing something when you find them. So it's like you're killing these like wild animals, basically.
Yeah.
And they're all different. Like there's one that looks almost like a huge, a big monkey. There's one that looks like a huge,
Bear.
like I think it was like a bear. One that's like a huge, it flies, etc. And what makes the game so interesting is that each of them it's like its own boss fight. And so it's almost like a puzzle at the same time, though, where it's like, okay, for the first one you fight, it's like a big old like monkey thing. I think it's like, how do I hit its weak spot? And so you have to like wait for it to like attack. Then you climb up the fur like on its body. You go on its head and you stab, 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 and then you kill it because that's its weak point. But then for like the flying one, for instance, you have to literally wait for it to charge you, jump at the right time. You're on its tail. You have to find a way to like climb the fur and stuff to get up to like its, I think the back of its neck, and that's its weak spot. But you're literally, it's flying around the arena, and you're on its back, and you can fall at any point. And so it's just so exciting because all of these have like a different gimmick, and like I said, because they're so huge. It's your tiny little guy with a sword scaling this huge mountain creatures to kill them.
Especially because you said the world was lonely and that it was only the Colossus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that world, the only thing that exists is that those 6 Colossuses, those are like the only animals. And then the thing is that you're just happen to be microscopic, basically. You're very tiny and that's it.
Yeah, but like it does hint that there like used to be a civilization here and stuff, and it's good. The game's very vague. But yeah, I think these are like guardians from like an old world or something that are left over. Like it's just so but it's just such a good game because like I said, it's just the atmosphere is great. Each of the boss fights is super epic. And I love that it's just so different. Like sometimes they talk about games as art. This game is definitely one that feels like art. Because it just feels so special compared to anything else. Where it
feels like a mythology or like a fable or something.
Exactly, like it really does. It feels like you are playing the part of like some myth, some fable, and you're this brave hero trying to do his thing to bring back the one that you're assuming the one he loves. And it's just so epic. Like I said, that's what Sonic kind of reminded me of it, because Sonic is kind of like that, where it's just a big empty world. You're running around. There's all these enemies, some of them huge. You're fighting them all by yourself. And so it kind of reminded me of that. It kind of takes inspiration from it, I feel. And I was like, that's really interesting. I would not think Sonic, of all things, would remind me of Shadow of the Colossus.
It would. Okay.
So I was just gonna say, if no one's ever checked the game out, oh my god, check it out. Like I said, it's on PS4, which is really cool. If you can grab a copy on PS2, that's fine as well.
Honestly, isn't there like a PS3 version?
I think the PS3 was just like a port of the PS2 version.
Okay. Same thing. Honestly,
I think it was a PS2 original, and PS3 was like a port. I think that one, the only thing that they did is supposedly, I think it was supposed to be like, oh, it's like the HD version, supposedly, and then this was like a remake where it's funny because it's like almost the same game,
so like
but it's made from the ground up to look like perfect,
Okay, so I'm saying like every like Sony company property that did when the PS3 came out, where they would try to like make HD versions that were just ports.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Let me just upscale them a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Silent Hill. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. But anyway, yeah, guys, if you haven't ever played Shadow of the Colossus, dude, you gotta play it. It's just such a special game. It's just so interesting, and the story, even though the story is like few and far between, I don't want to spoil it, but it's one of those stories that's really tragic too. That's all I'll say. Like it has,
I can tell. Yeah,
it has like some irony to it, I guess you could say. It's one of those things where Wander gives up a lot. That's all I'll say. It's really sad. It's really sad. But yeah, dude, I just love that game. It's just so good. It's just one of those games like, damn, whoever came up with that, it's genius. It's just so simple, but so genius.
It seems like a pretty good idea of a game, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so
and then
epic,
the story seems pretty good because like
because I said it's just so simple, but it feels like you're playing like a fairy tale. You're playing like a fable,
like a short book. Yeah,
yeah. I could totally see it as like a book or like I don't know. Like they've talked about how they want to make a movie about it. I hope they don't, because a live action movie, it just wouldn't work the same, man. It has to be a game. It's one of those things where it has to be a game because a movie just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as exciting.
It would just be an hour or two of him exploring. Then he comes across the Colossus,
and then that if there's 16, the movie wouldn't have enough room for all 16 of them.
Or he would have to encounter all of them at once or some weird
or
thing.
Or have to have like a montage of like he fights 2, then like a montage he just defeats like 7 in a row. And then like the last like 2 again or something. You know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
I feel like a book, if anything, would be a better adaptation, if anything.
Yeah, a book could make work. Or like a comic would be kind of cool or something. But that's what I want to talk about for this week. That was my topic because, like I said, I was reminded of it due to some stuff I played, which is really funny. I didn't expect it. And I just want to recommend it because it is such an epic game. And the more people that hear about it and try it out, because of me suggesting it, the better. That's what I want. I want to do that kind of stuff where I suggest stuff and recommend stuff, and hopefully people try new things. That's what I want. Like that's the whole point of me doing the podcast and the channel and stuff. I want people to be exposed to like new media. So there you go.
Yeah, that sounds pretty. Yeah, that was a pretty good topic. I like it too.
Yeah, and I didn't really expect it to tie in, but it did. So like that was really good.
And honestly, I can see the connection between Sonic and the Shadow of Colossus, like the way like the inspiration. I feel like it could have inspired Sonic a bit.
Yeah, Sonic has like so much more things going on. Obviously, there's all these collectibles and all this other stuff. But just
like the world,
just the part where you're running around the world and it's like so lonely. It's just you and enemies. That part reminded me like so much of Shadow of Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, guys, but there we go. That is going to be it for this week. Like I said, I'm hoping the next week I'll try to have like a new anime or two. Legend of Jonathan, hopefully he plays some Sonic Frontiers, like some more of it, so maybe he can give some more thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully check out something new too, because I know it's just been kind of you've been busy with it's just like you always talk about like one or two things. Hopefully
I haven't really had that much time. Yeah,
hopefully you find something new to talk about as well. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it for now, guys. If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we promise to try to be back next week. We can't guarantee it, but we're going to try our best to be back next week with more, as always. And that's basically it for the Otaku Overload. This is WeebrabbitGaming and
The Legend of Jonathan.
And we're signing out. Have a good one, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.